Alright, welcome back to my channel, everyone. First off, I just wanted to let everyone know how much I appreciate the subscribers and the views that I've been getting on this channel. It really means a lot to me. I have a personal goal of trying to reach 100 subscribers by the end of the year. So with your help, if you like what you see and you want to see more, please consider subscribing, so that way I can continue to improve and make the content that hopefully you guys want to watch. In the meantime, today I'm going to go over how to install an auxiliary power supply system that I purchased from a company called Overland Equipped. The auxiliary power supply unit is going to allow me to power all of my electrical accessories that I plan on installing on this truck in the future. So let me go ahead and show you guys what I've got, and then I'll show you how we go ahead and install it on the truck. Alright, here is the auxiliary power supply kit. This component comes with a custom bracket that's designed for Toyota Tacomas, 3rd gens. This one came assembled when it was shipped. The install is really simple. There's going to be 2 bolts with some washers and lock washers, and then you're going to use a 3rd bolt, which is down on the side of the vehicle right behind the fuse box, and it holds a wire harness to the body of the vehicle. And then all that is left is a negative cable that should get grounded onto the body, which in this case I put right here, and then a positive cable which gets routed underneath the fuse panel or off to the side of the fuse panel and connected right here on the positive battery cable clamp. The install is really simple, so we'll go over that now, and I'll show you guys how to install this on your 3rd gen Toyota Tacoma. But make sure to stay tuned for the end of the video. I'm going to show a sneak peek of the next video that's coming on my channel to give you guys an idea of what's to come for my truck, and it should be pretty awesome. So stay tuned for the end, but let's go ahead and get into the install. The install should be pretty easy. All we have to do is bolt the bracket onto the vehicle, and then we'll just tie into our power wire and our ground wire, and I'll show you right now where we're going to install this component. It's going to sit right over here in this space right next to your brake master cylinder and brake booster, right behind our fuse block assembly. And if I bring you over this way, I'll show you where the bolts will go. There are 2. Let me try to dim that down. There are 2 mounting positions that are already available on the Toyota Tacoma. One right here, one right there. And the 3rd mounting position is going to be all the way down here. If I can show you, it's kind of hard to get my camera in there. I'll just say the 3rd mounting position is going to be this bolt right there. It's kind of hard to see, but if you see right here on the firewall, right here, the 3rd position for the bracket installation is going to be this bolt right here, and then the other first 2 again are going to be right there. Now, it's important to know when doing any type of electrical work, you always want to disconnect the battery. Now, the rule of thumb with disconnecting the battery is the negative clamp is always the first one to go off and the last one to put back on. So the first step is to always take off the negative, and if you want to just be extra safe, you can take off the positive as well, and make sure that the clamps don't work their way back to the posts and make contact. just push them off to the side to where you know that they're not going to come back and touch the battery posts. Worst case scenario, you can always put a rag or something on top of both of the terminals just to make sure that these clamps don't come back in contact with the battery. So let's go ahead and do that and move on to the next step. Alright, you're going to take either a 10mm wrench or a 10mm socket and ratchet and disconnect the negative battery first. Alright, once our negative post is off, we'll take the positive off as well. I'm going to go ahead and remove the battery altogether because I have other things that I'm going to do onto this truck at the moment as well, so it'll just be easier if we remove the battery completely while I do other installs. If you guys ever want to remove the battery in the future, all you have to do after you've disconnected the contact points is remove these two 10mm bolts. So it looks like there's one right here and this one may just slide off. Now for this power management kit, I'm actually going to connect the positive cable that's on the kit right here on top of this post. So in order to do that, I just need to take off this nut, which is a 12mm sized nut. And just like that, we are good to go. We'll take him off, set him aside, and it looks like this clamp comes off individually, which is awesome in case I ever need to replace it in the future. So we'll go ahead and set that off to the side. Now the battery is completely disconnected, and I'm going to take out the battery altogether because I have other items that I'll be installing after we install this power management kit. Another 10mm nut. Make sure that you don't lose your J-hooks to the battery. It's just one 10mm nut. This one's permanently secured onto the bracket. So we'll move these components off to the side until we need to install them back onto the vehicle. So now I'm going to take the battery out. Alright, now that we have our battery disconnected, we can go ahead and install the kit into its location. Now in order to do this, again we'll have these two mounting points right here on the fender, inner fender, and then we're going to have a third bolt that's already installed down here by the side of the fuse panel assembly. So that bolt looks like a 10mm. So let's go ahead and take that one out first. Now, let's see here. This kit looks like you can just loosen the bolt and then slip it through and slide it into place. Now this bolt that I'm taking out actually holds a bracket for an electrical wiring harness. So when we put it back in, we just gotta make sure that it's holding up the bracket for the electrical wiring harness as well. And I'll show you in just a second as soon as I get this thing loose. All right. And just so I can kind of show you guys, what I'm talking about. It's a little hard to see. If you look down there, you can see the wiring harness with a bracket, and you want to slip that bottom portion behind the bracket itself. Alright, I'm going to install some washers, lock washers, and bolts that are provided with the kit. and get those set up right now. One thing to note when you're installing this power management kit, whatever you do, make sure that your electrical lines that are connected to the master cylinder all clear. This bracket assembly, you don't want anything rubbing and creating cutting through any electrical wires or anything like that. Right here, it looks like everything's good to go. We've cleared everything, so not too much to worry about. It's just something you want to be aware of when you try to install this onto your Tacoma. So just be aware of your surroundings. All right, now I've got a 13mm socket and ratchet. Tighten this guy down. Alright, so now that we have these two bolts installed right here and tightened down, we're going to go ahead and tighten down the third bolt down here with a 10mm socket and ratchet. Now it's pretty secure, it's not going anywhere. So the last step would be to install the positive cable and the negative cable to the vehicle. We have the positive wire coming down here underneath the fuse block and back up to the battery, and then the negative ground cable comes off of the fuse block, routed down here alongside the wiring harness and back up to this ground point, which you can find right next to the battery. Alright guys, that does it for this video. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comment section below. I'll get to them as soon as I can. I really appreciate everybody who's subscribed so far and watched my videos. It really means the world to me. If you want to see more in the future, make sure you subscribe. My personal goal is to try to reach 100 subscribers by the end of the year, so every subscriber counts, and I really do appreciate you guys and your time. If you want to see anything in the future, if you have any suggestions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what other people have to say. And yeah, in the meantime, since this is done, let me go ahead and give you a sneak peek of what's to come in the next video. Later.